River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Niner Nuts. I am Dan here along with Eric, just Eric again today. Eric, say hello.
What's up, Niner Nation?
We are here once again while James is on his sabbatical. We do not have anything betting-wise to talk about. We will bring up betting. We'll bring back betting when something worth betting happens. That's the downside of doing parlays every Friday when the football season's over. We got March Madness coming up soon. I know Purdue just won the Big Ten. We're just waiting for that bracket to come out. But in the meantime, next week, we will come back for an emergency episode should any of our signings be worthwhile. But until then, presuming this is our last episode, we are putting out into the universe today a couple of free agents that we hope will be signed by next Wednesday, because the league starts on, I believe that's the 13th. Yeah, Wednesday the 13th. Right now, what is it right now, the tampering period, or the legal tampering, whatever they call it?
No, that starts Monday on the 11th. Legal tampering starts Monday.
Okay, even though we already know Mike Evans signed a contract, Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson, literally like 20 minutes ago from when we're taping this, signed his 4-year, $71 million extension with the Bears. Yeah. So Jalen is not on my list, though, so I didn't have to make any corrections. I have not heard any news about any of the guys that are on my wish list. Eric, I came up with 3 people. You came up with a lot more than 3, but
we don't have to cover them all. I just wanted to be able to fill the time if we needed to. So
no, of course. And I do appreciate the extra effort. In fact, to kick it off, why not? Let's start with you. See if we have any. We'll see if we have any overlap end up happening. But okay. Who have you put on your wish list? Who do you want? How'd I put it in our text? Who do you want to make an emergency episode of next week?
Well, one of the guys that I came across, which really wasn't on my radar until I started looking into this, was Danielle Hunter from the Minnesota Vikings. He's an edge rusher, and he's pretty fantastic, to be honest. He's been fairly consistent year over year. He's played every game, every season for the last 8 seasons, except for 1. And he's only going to be 29 coming into this 2024 season. Last season, he had 16.5 sacks, which was 5th in the NFL. He also had 54 pressures, 23 tackles for a loss, and 4 forced fumbles. All pretty good statistics. He's very well-rounded. If you look back at his stats, he plays the run well as also. He's averaging about 50 solo tackles over the last 4 healthy years. So I think if we could somehow steal him away and sign him to set him up on the opposite end of Bosa, we would have that formidable pass rush that we thought we were going to get when we brought in Randy Gregory, and then we thought we were going to really have when we brought in Chase Young. This guy is going to command filthy amounts of money, I would think, on the free agent market. So I don't really think that it's realistic that we're going to sign him. But at the same time, sitting here last year, I would have never thought we were going to sign Hargrave to a deal either. I mean, if told me that we were going to sign the top defensive tackle on the market to a deal, I would have told you were insane, because there was no way he was going to fit and it wasn't going to work out salary cap wise and all of that stuff. So, I've given up trying to really understand how the salary cap works and how they fit all these contracts in and how they make the magic numbers work. And I just assume that if there's somebody that they really want, by golly, they'll go get them. And so it seems that if they wanted a really strong, consistent edge rusher to put on the opposite end of Bosa, that this guy would be it.
I would love that. I would not be sad at all. It does not bother me that he is 29 because he absolutely balled out for Minnesota.
Yeah.
And yeah, crazy things have happened. So we can't say that it won't happen. My thoughts are he might be a little too rich for us. I don't know. I feel like our big signing is going to be Brandon's contract, but
Oh, yeah.
like you said, we could be very, very wrong, and we could end up with him and then let Chase walk.
Well, I
But
mean,
no,
think about it.
he was a monster. I would love to sign him. He was a monster.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, like, you're 100% right. I mean, Ayuk is where the majority of our signing and our money should go this season. I think we both agree strongly on that. But last year we signed Bosa to a ridiculously huge extension, and we signed Hargrave. So I
To a
mean,
20
like,
million a year extension.
yeah. So I mean, like, it's clearly possible to make the magic math of the salary cap work in some crazy form or one way or another. So I agree with you that he's probably astronomically expensive and should theoretically be out of our price range. But I'm just doing this based off of the fact that I'm just making wishes and dreaming dreams. And if I was doing that, then I would put this guy opposite Bosa, and I would happily jump on a podcast to exclaim the virtues of how awesome this signing is going to be for the Niners.
I would double check. I would double check what our TikTok credentials are and make a live TikTok reaction the second I see that signing. If we sign Daniil Hunter,
Yeah.
My first guy, I am call it a little bit of bias because I live here in Indianapolis, but I didn't even know that this guy was a free agent until I was looking at the 101 available players from NFL.com, or top 101 players. And I think this guy would fit us budget wise. I think he's the right age where he's not like a young guy, even though this would be his third contract, if I'm not mistaken. But I think we need to go and try to get cornerback Kenny Moore from the Indianapolis Colts. This guy has played at a Pro Bowl level multiple years. In terms of character and fitting into the locker room, he was a captain for the Colts at least once or twice. He's been their Man of the Year nominee, I think 2 or 3 times. I don't know if he made it to the final 3, but he's been the Colts nominee multiple times. And like I said, he plays at a very, very high level. I'm just looking at his stats from last year. He had 3 picks, 6 passes defensed, 93 tackles. So I mean, he's not
93 tackles.
Yeah,
wow, that's a lot.
Total tackles, 68 solo.
That's a lot though for a corner.
Yeah, for a corner, and he got a sack and a half. So he did do a corner blitz once, or technically twice. But no, like all the highlights I've seen of the Colts, because I try to watch the Colts. I don't watch them as much as the Niners, but this is just a stand-up guy. He's not even that old. I think right now, how old is he right now? Of course, it doesn't say on ESPN, but he's not 30. I think he's 28. Maybe I'm surprised his age is not right there. But anyway, he's not 30 yet. I saw projections say that he should only command a contract about like $8-9 million. So like price wise, it's pretty good. I don't know. He had a weird contract thing with Jim Irsay, so I don't know if he's going to want to fight Jim Irsay necessarily, unless Jim just decides to shell out money for him while he's trying to sign Michael Pittman. But if an opportunity presents itself, I think Kenny Moore is a tremendous cornerback. And then Demo, you played yourself into a slot. Like, you were excellent at slot. I know you want to be on the outside, but if we can sign Kenny Moore, just do your thing in the slot because you kick ass at it. Kenny Moore, I think he would be a great complimentary outside corner to Charvarius.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I didn't spot that guy when I was doing my list, so that's a good pick by you. I mean, I'm really impressed by the number of tackles that he has. I mean, from a corner perspective, that's a ton of tackling. So he's definitely getting up there and sticking his nose in on the run game and making an impact there, not just floating around and, covering guys. He's running up to make plays. So that's important in the style of the defense that we play. So it sounds from that perspective that he would be a good fit. I guess I'd like to see him have a little bit higher number of passes defended and interceptions, but maybe he's not getting the ball thrown his way. I mean, I personally don't ever watch the Colts, no offense. But I mean, you could look at Ward's numbers over the last 4 or 5 games of the season and be like, oh, well, he doesn't do anything, right? Well, no, the problem was just no one threw the ball at him. So, of course, he doesn't have any passes defended, and of course, he doesn't have any interceptions. So, I mean, maybe that was the case with that guy as well.
Yeah, like I said, not this year, I believe the year before he finally made the Pro Bowl. And yeah, I'm sure that played dividends into it because the Colts secondary was kind of leaky outside of him anyway. So just if you avoid him, you'll probably get a good deep shot because their safeties weren't that good. But no, Kenny, like I said, Kenny, by all accounts, is a great guy, and he's not past the dreaded 30 yet.
Yeah.
And if his salary is only like $10 million or less, because we're already paying Charvarius, I think, 15 a year, or that's what the AAV was. If he's cheaper than Charvarius and and he's been a number 1 corner already, why don't we try to get a second number 1? That'd be amazing.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah,
if we can actually get him, if Jim Irsay isn't actually trying to re-sign him.
Yeah, I mean, if he comes in at something around that $8 to $10 million a year, like you were saying, that seems like, with the cap going up as much as it did, that seems like a number that would be something that the Niners would be able to work into their cap and make feasible. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I'll play off of what you did then, because I also picked some cornerbacks. I had 3 other corners as well. So maybe I'll just throw all 3 of them out there, and we can kind of talk about all of them as a pile and see what we come up with. They're all kind of the same guy, I guess, in a way, different degrees of success, different levels of experience and stuff like that, but all sort of fairly similar in their situation. So the first one I had was Xavier Howard from the Dolphins. He's going to turn 31 in 2024. So on that veteran side of 30, but he has been healthy for the last 4 years. He's had 60 passes defended over the last 4 seasons and 18 picks. So he's definitely got sticky hands, which I like. I like corners that, get in there, and when the ball comes their way, they're able to make a play with it and turn it into something. He does tackle well for a cornerback. I think he had 50 or something like that tackles. So not nearly as well as your guy, but he at least is get in there and making plays. With him turning 31, I was thinking, we could sign him to maybe like a 3-year deal, something like that. Not exceptionally long, but was kind of going along the lines of hoping that it would be one of those things where he'd want to go somewhere that was a very successful team with a very strong future, with a good chance of winning a ring, that kind of thing.
It's not a bad idea, and acclimating to us wouldn't be that much different than what he was with in Miami in Mike McDaniels. So no, that's honestly not a bad pitch.
Yeah. So I thought, he's got talent for sure. He's already had a big contract in the past. He has grumbled about money before, so that gives me a little bit of pause and concern that he might really just be looking for money more than anything else. But if he really decides that he wants to just try to finally get that Super Bowl ring, maybe he looks our way and says it's a good situation and comes out this way. The next guy that I had was Darius Williams. He's a cornerback for the Jaguars, also turning 31 in 24. Only had 4 interceptions last year, but did also have 12 pass breakups. Again, he's basically been healthy for the last 4 years. I harp on health a lot because to me, availability is the best ability that you can have, right? So if you have a guy who's
100%.
Yeah, who's hurt all the time. I mean, sure, it's great when he's on the field, but if he's only out there for 3/4 of the games or half of the games, it doesn't do us any good. So if I'm spending money on a free agent, if I'm bringing a guy in for the team, I want a guy who I feel like is going to be healthy and productive. And, I kind of look at I try to look at the last 4 or 5 years to kind of see what a guy has been doing and see how many games he's played to kind of determine his health. So he's had 58 pass breakups his last 4 seasons. He only has had 10 INTs for his career. That's a little bit low for my liking. Again, I like cornerbacks with sticky hands that can make plays, but that's fine. Interceptions are kind of a weird thing anyways. Some guys have a knack and a feel and just seems like a nose for the ball. I mean, I remember watching Ed Reed, right? And I mean, like, it wouldn't matter where you would throw the ball on the field. Somehow Ed Reed would be able to teleport from one side of the field to the other and be there to intercept the pass, right? So I mean, like,
Earl Thomas too. Earl Thomas was nasty at that.
Yeah. So I mean, some guys just have that knack for like being near the ball all the time, or anytime the ball would like deflect up in the air, you're like, oh, it's going to land in Ed Reed's hands. Yep, there it did. You're just like, whatever. So it's fine. He does tackle really well, so I like his fit for our scheme of offense. Again, with him turning 31, would want to sign him to a shorter contract. Again, maybe like a 3-year deal. And again, I'm looking for a guy here who is trying to go to an organization. He's been on the Jags, right? So, we know what kind of a dumpster fire the Jags have been. I mean, withstanding the last couple of years where they've been like kind of decent, they've historically been pretty bad.
We gave them the inaugural throwing up all over yourself award, right? Or did we tie it with the Eagles? I can't remember.
Yeah, we did indeed. So
Okay.
he may be ready to move on to an organization that he feels is kind of a bit more prestigious and in a better position to win and set up for a better future. And so hopefully he would come here.
Not bad. That was the most information I've ever heard about this guy, but it's not a bad pitch either.
Yeah. The last guy, and one that I think you'll be familiar with, is Stephon Gilmore. Used to play for the Bills,
Isn't he like 35?
He's 33.
Oh.
He's 33. But so I'm thinking he can fill in for the Richard Sherman role from like a decade ago, right? So I mean, like,
Uncle Sherm.
Yeah. So I mean, like, we kind of needed a guy. We needed a veteran corner presence on the opposite side from whoever we had at the time. I don't remember who we had at the time. And we brought in Sherman to kind of just sort of like, bring the locker room together, do some culture stuff, and be a good fit out on the field. And Gilmore kind of reminds me of that. I don't know that he's necessarily as vocal as Sherman was, obviously, because, you could see Sherman was a talker and a natural leader kind of person. And I don't know if Gilmore is that, but he can certainly bring in a veteran presence. He's played in Buffalo. He's played in New England. So he's played in really complex defensive schemes. So he shouldn't have any problems picking up and executing what it is that we do on defense, right? Because the reality is on the back end, historically, we haven't really done anything overly complex. We don't disguise what we do on the back end that much. It's usually just a mix of man and zone with our linebackers and the corners and safeties and stuff, but it's not exotic as compared to what other teams do. He's really been mostly healthy for his career. He's had a couple of seasons where he missed some games there, kind of his last season in New England and then his first year in Carolina. But he does tackle well. He breaks up a lot of passes. And while he is 33, he could really be in that ring chasing phase of his career because he's got to know he's getting to be towards the end. And so maybe he comes here on a very cap friendly Richard Sherman style deal where it's loaded with incentives, right? Where, you come here and you get X amount of interceptions or X amount of pass breakups, or we make it to such and such round of the playoffs or whatever, and you get a bonus, something like that, or you play a certain percentage of plays, whatever it might be. I think that could be something that he would really look at because, I mean, he clearly went from his crappy situation in Carolina. He went to the Cowboys. So, I mean, he was looking.
He had a pit stop in Indy too.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, he was looking, if you ask me, he was looking to go to the Cowboys because he was looking for a franchise that he thought was going to get to the Super Bowl, right? That's why you go to the Cowboys. So
it wasn't a bad bet necessarily.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're doing that kind of a thing where you're going to the Cowboys and trying to chase a ring, why not come here and try to also chase a ring? So that was kind of my thought on that. that was sort of my breakdown of three guys that when I looked at the free agents that were out there, and I think that a good cornerback. I don't want to. I don't want to dump on Tom. This isn't a dump on Thomas podcast, right?
Yeah.
Because he did fine opposite Ward, but this is an area, if we're just being objective, that we could upgrade through free agency, possibly even perhaps through the draft. But specifically, we're targeting free agency here. So through free agency, looking at the cornerbacks that were available, sort of the top 100 guys that were out there, these were the kind of the three guys that sort of struck me as unique in the sense of what they brought to the table and their fit and style for what they might bring to the team.
I think cumulatively between these four, like obviously I'm sticking up for Kenny. But, of your guys, I don't know, just something doesn't feel right if we try to sign Xavier and sorry, who was your second guy again?
Darius Williams.
Williams, right? Jacksonville guy I didn't know jack about. Honestly, Gilmore's beaten Father Time pretty well for being a cornerback. Cornerbacks age about as poorly as running backs. So I would not be sad if we signed Gilmore because no, he does have a lot of leadership. He is still incredibly athletic for how old he is. And I never thought about filling in the Uncle Sherm role, but he could probably do that perfectly. Like, I would prefer Kenny just because of the age difference, and I don't like gambling on the age. But somebody that's beaten Father Time as consistently as him, he will bow out very gracefully. I can't imagine Stephon, former Defensive Player of the Year, Stephon Gilmore, like going out in an ironic bang, like a terrible injury ruins his career. Like, now I put that out there, but
yeah.
But no, I think Gilmore would be a really good signing too. That was a good list.
Yeah, I mean, given the preference, I really like the guy that you mentioned because he is younger, and I like the idea of being able to sign him to a longer contract because Ward's contract is going to come up.
This is Ward's last year.
Yeah, this is Ward's last year, and then man, obviously, if he keeps playing at the level that he's playing right now, he's going to be ridiculously expensive when we go to try to re-sign him. So,
his third contract's going to be stupid.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, the idea is, can we really replace or can we really re-sign Ward? I don't know. But if we were to sign your guy, given that he's younger, I'd be more than happy to give him a 5 or a 6 year deal and then let Ward roll off. And then, not that I want Ward to leave, but, mathematical cap speaking, we'd have to let Ward roll off. And then we have your guy fill in as our number one cornerback. And then we're looking for someone to fill that number 2 role again. So, I mean, I like the idea of how that works out and what that brings. It's just a kind of a philosophy difference upon, whether you want to, build for the right now and the immediate of, just stack someone over there because we're going to run for the Super Bowl again this year, or, can you land that guy that you can also, have for now, but also have for the future?
Yeah, no, for sure. Moving to my next position, my second of 3 people. I wrote it on my phone. That's why I was looking down. This guy, it's an offensive lineman, so I can only speak so much on him, especially because he was on another team.
Yeah, but I ran into that same problem.
But when I was looking through the list, really, I kind of relied on the little blurb that was below them, their age, and the team that they were coming from. And this guy, Robert Hunt from Miami.
Yeah.
I did do a little bit of digging on him. On his PFF grade, he had a 77.1, which by PFF standards is pretty damn good. Like, if you're in the 70s or the 80s, that's awesome for PFF. He only allowed 1 sack the entire year. He is specifically a guard. I love the little blurb that he had that said, a great fit for any zone blocking offense looking for a difference maker on the ground. Bro, if we can plug him in at right guard and have Buford as the backup to him, especially from coming from Miami, where that offensive plug and play should be right. The learning curve should be nothing for this guy. If we can afford him, Robert Hunt stood out to me the most because he He's only 28. I just had it right here.
That's
yeah.
correct.
He's only 28, going on 29. Miami's offense is not that different from ours. So if we can replace Buford with him, like, I mean, I don't have much more to say other than that because there's not stats for offensive linemen. But no,
Well,
Robert Hunt, I think, would be definitely worth kicking the tires on.
yeah, he was on my list as well. I had him pulled because the three positions that I focused on, and we had talked about this in one of our earlier pods that we did. I focused on edge rusher. I focused on linemen on the right side, so guards and tackles on the right side, and then cornerbacks was the positions that I was looking at. And then Robert Hunt, who you just mentioned, was one of the people that came up for me as well. 6'6", 322 pounds. Said he had an 89.6% pass block win rate last season. I mean, that's fantastic. Like you mentioned, he can play in a zone blocking scheme. It sounded like, and he was only 28 heading into the 2024 season. I mean, that sounds like someone that I'm willing to shell out 5 years and, probably $100 million for to lock up on that right side of the guard line. Maybe not $100 million, maybe $80 million. But whatever.
Do guards make 20 yet?
Dude, like everybody in the NFL makes 20 million at this point in time, it seems like. But yeah, I mean, I would be thrilled if we put him and plugged him in on the right side of the line. I guess I don't know whether tackle or guard on that right side is the more important of the two positions for us in this off season. I'm not smart enough to know which one we need to fill more than the other. I guess.
Well, guard was who was supposed to block Chris Jones on that last play. So
well, then we need to fix guard. Well, I mean, Feliciano was doing a really good job.
Yeah, but he was hurt, and then Buford said, "Oh yeah, I wanted to go in and help." Not Beathard. I've already forgot our center's name. But no, I wanted to go tag team with the center, and that let Chris Jones just fly through untouched.
Yeah.
So yeah, he took blame for it because Feliciano was out with an arm injury.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, if we could sign this Robert Hunt guy and throw him on the right side of the line, I mean, that would make a huge difference. I guess the only caveat that I have with that is, like, I guess I would like to see us do something at the tackle position a little bit more. And I only say that because I, like you, want to be able to get Kittle off the line, right? Because we've talked about that a bunch on the pod, that they keep having to keep Kittle in to be that extra lineman against some elite and sometimes not even elite, rushers on the outside from the other teams. And I would love to have ourselves a right tackle out there that we can just stick out there and that can handle, I'll say 90, even 85% of the pass rushers that they face on a consistent basis. I mean, like, everybody's going to give up a sack every now and then. Like, that's the way that the game works, and I'm okay with that and stuff. But, like, there are just some games where we just have to keep Kittle, like against the Lions, right? Like against Aiden Hutchinson. Now, I mean, granted, Aiden Hutchinson's really, really good, right? But, like, I mean, we got to keep Kittle in and glued. He's glued to that right tackle to just, like, be an extra lineman against Aiden Hutchinson. We don't even get to send him out to run routes or do anything. So, I mean, I guess just looking at it from that perspective, I'd kind of like to see us do something at that right tackle position a little bit more than the guard position, just because I want to be able to free up Kittle instead of having to keep him in. Like, if we got to bring him in every now and then based upon the play or how we're blocking it or whatever, fine. But I'm frustrated with these games where we keep Kittle in for 75% of the game blocking because our right tackle can't hold up. So
right. Tell me if either of these names, I was just looking at the list that I used, that I solely based this on. And two guys really stand out to me that kind of fit exactly what I was looking for with my very not unintelligent, but my very novice kind of expertise on this. Jonah Williams of Cincinnati and Yosin Nigma, or I don't know how to say this guy's last name. I feel like Yosh Inman. But yeah, I swear to God, Google his name. I'll put his name in our chat so you can laugh at me. Where's our chat? But yeah, anyway, these two guys stand out to me because Yosh was Yosh can play left or right tackle and has good experience for his age in Green Bay, and he's only 28. And then Jonah Williams is 26, and he, quote, switched to right tackle in 23 without much of a drop-off, blocking for Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
So either of those guys come across you, we'll call these my bonus. This is my bonus because neither of them were my last guy on my list.
Yeah. So I looked at Jonah Williams a little bit. It said that he had an 85.4% pass block win rate last season, which put him at, yeah. Interestingly enough, though, it said that put him at 53rd out of 69 qualified tackles. So I thought that was kind of interesting because to me, 85.4 seems like a really good number. But then he was
pretty damn good for PFF.
Yeah, but then he was 53rd out of 69, and I was just like, well,
dang.
Like, yeah, like now you're kind of in like the D- tier, if I'm just looking at you out of the ranking there. But then, and I didn't have time to look at it, but like the gap of, from 53rd to like first must be like ridiculously small. Like, there must be a ton of people between 85.4 and like 86.2 or something like that. I mean, there must just be a billion people in between there. So I mean, I think he would be great. I would be very interested to see what he could do on our team. I like the fact that he's only 26. I think signing him, I would be interested to see. You mentioned that he flipped from or over to the right tackle position. So, signing him again, kind of using your logic there for Kenny Moore would be, can we sign him to a 5 or a 6 year deal? That would only make him like 32, 33, whatever. And then as Trent ages out, we slide him over to left tackle, and we have him
there we go.
to kind of pick up where Trent, we can just replace a Williams with a Williams. We can just slide him over to that left tackle position and already have somebody in-house who's familiar with the scheme, who's ready to go, who's learned everything that there is to know. Obviously, right tackle to left tackle requires some relearning of what you're doing, but we would be able to kind of transition that and have a better ease for when Trent does finally leave at the end of these 3 years, or should he get hurt. I mean, I'm not going to wish injuries on Trent in any way, shape, or form, but Trent has missed games over the last couple of seasons, and Trent's, I think, like 35 at this point in time. So, I mean, we're getting to the stage where it's unrealistic to think that Trent's going to continue to play 17 games or 16 games, whatever it is, a season. So, maybe bringing in a guy like this would be very valuable to be able to flip him around.
Could be, yeah. I do see what time that we're getting at. So we've kind of already we've touched on the tackles now. You said linebackers for somebody that you were looking at, because I had my last on my list was linebacker. Not to like mess up with the order of the list that we were.
No. Go ahead.
My last name. I'm very interested if you thought about bringing this awesome linebacker back who has already been in our locker room. We actually drafted this dude, Azeez Al-Shaair. I didn't realize he was already a free agent with Tennessee. I thought he signed a 2-year. I thought he signed a 3-year contract, or at least a 2. Like, I thought he was going to be with them next year, but apparently Al-Shaair is available again. So, dude, why not? Greenlaw's down. Shaair already knows how to play in our defense. I mean, do I need to say more than that? Like, if his numbers didn't jump off in Tennessee, I mean, he was our third linebacker. He wasn't out that much for us either. So, I mean, if he just comes back in and we all know and we're all like, hey, Al, you're back. Like, I don't see how, I don't see why he's not worth the risk bringing back in, like, versus trying to teach someone new the playbook or trying to put that all on D Winters. Like, make D Winters compete with Alshire. There's no way Al's going to command that much money from us. I can't imagine. I mean, he did leave last year, but I don't know. I feel like I feel like we could get him back, like, since somehow he is available. But especially with we don't know when Greenlaw's going to come back. He might miss the first month. He might be back for week 1. I really doubt it, but he could miss half the season. We don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really interesting choice on your part, Dan. There was actually pictures and stuff of Al-Shazir being on the sidelines and being like in the huddle with the Niners during the season and I think it was during the playoffs actually, where he was kind of still with the crew as they were sort of hyping up pregame and stuff like that. He had come to the game and stuff, and so he's still very clearly close with members of the team and still very embedded in the culture of the team. So I think
he was honestly pretty good for his kind of role player kind of position whenever he was out there, since we primarily leaned on Greenlaw and Warner, but he was still good when he was out there.
Yeah, my only knock on him is that he gets hurt a lot. So I mean, like, that's the only downside that I have to him, is that when he did play with us, he always seemed to have some sort of an injury and was missing a game here and a game there and a game here and a game there. So that was my only knock on him. But I love the idea of, if they can get a sense of, that Greenlaw is not going to be available for the first month of the season or even 2 months of the season, for sure, bring him in, sign him up, have him out there running with the squad.
8 months is October, by the way. Like, the fastest Achilles recovery ever. 8 months, that's October.
No, the fastest Achilles recovery ever was like 6 days by Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right.
He tore his Achilles and he was like throwing a football by the next day. He was ready to lace him up the next week. They just wouldn't let him, man. You forgot that already.
That's right.
So,
well, since Aaron's not our linebacker, let's assume that Greenlaw is going to be out at least until November.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that makes perfect sense. I would think that he would love to come back and play for the organization again. I think he sees probably that there's not a tremendous amount of money out there. What did he make last year? I'm going to look up his contract now that
I swear I think he only made like $4 million last year.
I'm never going to be able to spell his name.
That's why I'm copy pasting. I bet I'll find it.
I typed in something that was like randomly close and it gave it to me in Google. So thank you very much, Google, for that.
It's like patting your shoulder, just like, you did your best. We got this.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't even remotely close and it was just like, I got you. Well, that just means that my computer is listening. He only made $5 million last year.
It was a single $5 million contract. I really thought he signed a 2 or 3 year deal. I didn't know he left us for a 1 year deal.
Yeah, so bring him back. That's fine. We can do that.
Oh, dude. If it's $5 million, like, probably it's going to be less. I mean, well, even if it's $5 million, hell, $6 million, that's still cheaper than Greenlaw. Greenlaw's $12 million.
He made $4 the last year he was here. So, I mean, yeah, he made $4, then $5. So, I mean, $6 million. I mean, probably get him for $5 because he's coming back here. Play for a team that's got a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
It's still cheaper than Greenlaw because I said 12. Greenlaw was like 8 or 12, something like that.
Yeah, I think he's like 9, but yeah, something like that. So yeah, I think that makes for a great signing. I mean, even if Greenlaw is going to be back by the start of the season, Azeez would make really good depth. I guess I don't know if we could just have him for a depth signing for $5 million. That might be a bit much to carry for a cap hit for $5 million just for depth signing. But I mean, Greenlaw, notwithstanding his horrible, bad luck at getting his Achilles injury, but he misses like 2 or 3 games every season as well. I mean, he always gets hurt because he's out there hitting things like a friggin' Scud missile every time that he gets a chance. So, I mean, like, he throws his body around with reckless abandon. So, I mean, he's always hurt. So, I mean, having Azeez to be able to come in and fill in and play for the times when Greenlaw is hurt, or, just rotate with Warner and Greenlaw a little bit. I mean, I don't see a lot of downside to that.
No, I don't. Honestly, that's why I picked him. I don't see much downside to him. Like, no,
Yeah.
he's not Greenlaw in terms of overall talent, but with being with us before and knowing he has that same energy that Warner and Greenlaw have. Like,
Yeah.
he's like a 7 if Greenlaw's 9 and Warner's 10. Like,
Yeah.
but it would be a great example for like D Winters, because D Winters, this could be an opportunity for D to step up. And
Yeah.
he came to us with all that TCU hype. So I mean, time to show it. Not rookie anymore, but I see what time. Any last guys on your list you want to call out? Because I feel like, because I know I jumped you on the list.
Oh no, that's perfectly fine. I mean, I had a couple other guards and a tackle on the list, but I mean, it's going to be the standard discussion of they're a really big guy, and if you plug a really big guy on that side of the line, big guys make big things happen. So,
Right.
but Jonah Jackson from the Lions, he's 27. He was the guy that I had picked out. He had a 93.2 pass block win rate last season, which that's crazy high compared to that Bengals guy that we just talked about.
Yeah.
He's a big dude. And then there was another guy, Mike. I don't know how you say his last name, Onwenu, something like that. He was an offensive tackle with the Patriots. He's also only 26.
He's a name that's popped up a lot. A lot of people are going to be going after that guy.
Yeah, he's only 6'3", but he's 350, so he's round. But he can play guard or tackle, so he's kind of very versatile in that respect. So that's something that obviously the Niners really cherish is versatility. So having him and being able to kind of throw him in at either spot, if we needed to be able to use him in either situation, would probably be very helpful. Maybe plug him in at tackle, and then if something happened, we could slide him to guard, or vice versa, whichever it would happen. He had an 88.7 pass block win rate at guard last season, so he obviously did very well also. So those were the last couple of guys that I had, but again, they're lineman guys, so I don't have much else other than they're big, and big guys make big things happen. So
right, yeah, no, I feel that. Well, then I guess with that, I'm actually looking at because I got my Robbie Gould picture right here, and guess who is blocking his interior right side? Laken Tomlinson. Tomlinson is always in front of me, and so is DJ Jones. He's not on any free agent list that I've seen, but DJ Jones was really good for the year that we did have him, or for the time we did have him. But anyway, I think with that, I think this has been a really good precursor to reacting to whoever we sign. We've put this all into the world. We know John and Debo at least listen to us, so hopefully come Wednesday morning, or maybe even Monday morning during the legal tampering period, we'll hear about somebody. So I think with that, guys, we need to go ahead and talk about our sponsor. If I can find them right here. Where'd they go? There we go. RoyalRetros.com. What is RoyalRetros.com? It is your go-to place to go get yourself an authentic throwback jersey. If you're more than just a football fan, they got basketball, they got baseball, they got soccer. They cover all the sports, not just football. But we are a Niners podcast, and so for you guys, go check out the Candlestick collection. It's curated with the Bay Area in mind. And when you find something that you like, go use the promo code Shady Sports when you check out and get 10% off of your entire order. Again, it's promo code Shady Sports, and it helps us out. It helps our parent company out, Shady Sports Network. Use that code to get 10% off your order at RoyalRetros.com. Go get yourself an authentic jersey today. Now, as always, we've ended these episodes this entire year talking about a little bit of charity that we've been trying to do, raising money for a Kentucky crisis center that stemmed from just kind of disgust that we've had from owners over the past year and change. We talked ad nauseum about Dan Snyder, the Texans minority owner that got in trouble in Kentucky, where we were donating the money to. Our own acting owner, so to say, Jed York, had his own little civil suit happen, and then we all know the Carolina owner is now trying to usurp Dan Snyder as the worst owner in the league, unless Jim Irsay has something to say about that. So we decided to create this hashtag, owner standards over player standards, hashtag owner accountability. We've tried to make that go viral out there on all the social platforms. And to show you that we put our money where our mouth is, how we're raising money is by these t-shirts here on bonfire.com. Our first one right here is the standard logo shirts, what I call it. Owner standards over player standards, hashtag owner accountability. Lots of different colors, lots of different styles. So you don't have to get just a t-shirt. Pricing starting at $22.99. And all the proceeds for this and the other shirts I'll show you are going to that crisis center. The next shirt is our cover art that you see on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, if anyone uses Google Play, basically everywhere you listen to us instead of watch us on YouTube. The next shirt is the alternate cover art. I think this one's pretty cool with the peanuts flying into the goalposts. A couple different colors, different styles, as you see. So it's not just a t-shirt, but the prices start at $22.99. Then our last shirt is a peanut on a beanbag eating peanuts, wearing glasses and wearing his Niners hat, waiting patiently for free agency and the draft and just the return of the season to wash away the sadness of losing the Super Bowl. And he's still smiling, though, just like us. We're still smiling, too, because we always go onward and upward into the next season. And like I said, we will have a representative from our Kentucky Crisis Center who we're raising money for here on the show in the coming weeks. We'll let you know when we have that date locked in. James is also, he's kind of organizing that, but while he's on that sabbatical, that's all I can say about that. So now, a little bit of news blurbs. Oh my gosh, it's hard to narrow down one. We had franchise tag day come and go. Some people are already signing contracts. Like we can't get Jalen Johnson anymore because he re-signed with the Bears. So I don't know. I'll guess I'll just use the little news blurb section here to say just it's going to be a very, very big, busy week. We will come back for any particularly notable signings, not just. I don't want to do an emergency episode about Azeez Al-Shaair. I'll like that, if you get what I mean, Eric.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If we sign somebody like, actually, I don't know. Kenny Moore might be not worth an emergency episode, but we'll assess how things are going, and if the signing is big enough, or if Brandon gets re-signed, we'll do an emergency for that one. But yeah, guys, we are planning on being off next week, pending a huge signing. So. Our news is the news blurb section.
Yeah, well, the only piece of news that I had was the Rams just re-signed Kevin Dotson, who was their guard just about an hour ago, to a 3-year, $48 million deal. So that works out to about $16 million a year. So we were talking about the guy from the Dolphins, Robert Hunt, and what it might take to get him and sign him over. So it looks like the going rate for interior guard is about $16 million.
All right. So could be 14-15. Could also be 17-18. All right. Yeah. That's not all you need is that one domino to fall to set the price for everybody else. Like when Christian Kirk did that, and he was the first wide receiver to break $20 million.
Yeah, that was
or was it 25?
No, he got like 21. He got like 21, and everybody was like, "Whoa, Christian Kirk got 21. I'm worth 25 at least."
Yeah, okay. So I can't remember if it was 20 or 25, but yeah, I remember when Christian Kirk literally reset the market and just how monumental that was, and how hilarious it was Christian Kirk of all receivers to do that, and not like Julio Jones or.
Yeah. Yeah, Devontae Adams was just licking his chops once he saw Christian Kirk sign that deal. He was like, "What? Oh, great! Thank you very much, man. Much appreciated."
Awesome. He got 20. Where's my 30?
Yeah. So if we want to sign that guy from the Dolphins, it looks like we'll have to shell out around $16 million a year to get him. They're relatively the same age. Looks like they graded out pretty close to the similar in terms of grade and stuff like that. So I mean, that would be the going rate for that kind of thing. So. That gives us a ballpark of what to expect.
Right on. I dig it. Excuse me. I need to drink water on mic. Anyway, guys, that's all we got for this week. Like I said, just to make sure you know, we will only be back next week for an emergency episode. Just keep an eye out for free agency, and let's go sign some good players. So with that, outro music is River Road by Justin Muth. We'll catch you guys after the free agency frenzy.
Later on.
River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long. River Road, where have all the women gone? Have they kissed her hand and waved you bye-bye? Have they thought about crossing your double yellow lines? River Road, they love the way you whine and cry.